charismatic Azeem Ahmad.
Wow, wow. Hello, everyone. Oh, dear. Right, if you've ever seen me talk before, you'll know that out of 10, my energy is a 12 because I'm full of caffeine. I was mentioning backstage, there's enough caffeine in me to kill a large animal. And very soon I'm going to have to be confined to this the lectern. So I've got 18 minutes to talk to you about the topic that's on the screen behind me. 18 because for 2 minutes we're going to have a bit of fun. I knew that I was going to be last today, and we're going to play a game. If you've played this game with me before, okay, there's a couple of rules, right? One of them is be safe, okay? All will become clear very shortly. I've been in this room for most of the day, and I've seen some incredible speakers, and I'm sure you all have as well. In front of you on your seats, you'll see that the seats all have names. People have sponsored them or whatever. Every seat in front of you has a name, okay? In 10 seconds, I am going to give you a name, right? And if you see that name, under that seat is a prize that I've hidden. If you find it, right, the prize is yours to keep. You've got 10 seconds to find it. Stay in your row. Don't injure anybody, but this is the name, okay? The name is Dennis Wright, and your 10 seconds starts now, okay? All the people walking in now, like, what's going on? What's going on? Right, okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we have a winner right over there. I meant here. The winner is me because now I know you're all engaged. There's no prize. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Right, now that I've got your attention, in all seriousness, I know you're awake, not asleep, full of ice cream and whatever else. I want you to do me a massive, massive favor. Today has been incredible, right? And at the start of the day, you would have seen that video, which it certainly moved me, and I'm sure it moved you all as well. So please, now that you're engaged, I want you to give a massive round of applause for everybody involved in this event today, the awesome charity that the money is going to. Okay, now I'm going to be confined to the box. That was the most fun this gets. Sorry, right. The other 60 seconds I'm going to tell you about myself because I believe that we are incredibly, I don't know what the right word is, but we don't talk about our own successes enough. So very quickly, I'm going to tell you that I did a talk at Brighton SEO in front of 3,000 people, which was mad. I did a talk for SEMrush, which was live streamed to 80,000 people. People keep asking me places. I don't know why. I did a talk for a PPC Hero. I did a talk in Barcelona that was voted the best. With attendees from over 30 countries voted this guy the best. Why am I telling you that? Because I'm putting more pressure on myself. Pressure makes diamonds. I was also very recently featured on Think with Google, and very soon I will be in America. 2 weeks ago, I was on the beach in Spain being pelted with beach balls, but none of this compares to wonderful Nottingham, right? You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you've chosen to be here with me, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I will very quickly tell you about my podcast. It's called the Azeem Digital Asks podcast, and like it was mentioned there, it's rated amongst the top 20 in the world, top 10 in the UK. I talk about all those subjects, all related to marketing and adjacent topics. What I don't talk about is the fact that I clearly can't buy shirts that fit me properly. That's size 12 to 13 boys, if any men here are interested. Right, let's talk seriously. Wow, that's massive. I'm going to talk to you about audio, video, if we get time, distribution, and buy-in. Oh, the caffeine shakes are kicking in now. Right. I'm going to make sure that this talk is widely applicable as possible. If you saw the opening slide, you will see that I work for a company that is in industrial manufacturing in B2B. I could tell you about all the stuff that I do for this company, but none of it would be relevant to you, and it would definitely put you to sleep. If you're struggling tonight, I can talk to you all about that. I'm going to assume, again, like I said, no generic case studies. I'm going to assume that you've already got a strategy and that you're here because you want to take it to the next level. And I think that as an industry, we need to move away from phrases like this, where we talk about this year, for our content strategy, we need X amount of pounds. So I'm going to start with this, a hot take, and there will be a couple of them. I think we get measurement wrong. If you disagree, fight me. No, I'm joking. If you disagree, we can have a conversation after, but I genuinely think we get measurement wrong. If you look at this slide here, it says, as of January 2022, tracking ROI and digital marketing returns that many results, almost 16 million. I've left that in because if you look at it today, I checked this morning, I think it was about 20 million. I don't think in the space of a year that there is another 4 million ways to track ROI in digital marketing, and I don't think we just make it very, very convoluted. If you don't believe me, here's an example. If brand awareness is your main KPI, all of the words around that are ways that you can track it. Traffic, document views, downloads, etc. Engagement, exactly the same. Likes, retweets. Sales, I could spend 20 minutes doing this, but I'm not going to. You get the point. Customer loyalty, lead gen, and I know there's a lot of people in the room, digital PR, links. We love a link. So, here's the problem as I see it. I think when it comes to our customers, we know what they want, but we just don't know how they want it. And this is where this phrase, content velocity, comes in. Just by nodding, who is aware of the concept of content velocity? Okay, a few people. It's basically this, which is on the screen. Hopefully you can read it. It's the idea that you measure the amount of content that your competitors put out over time. Okay, I can see a couple of people taking pictures. I will hang there. I will also share the slides afterwards. If you missed it now, YOLO. So, here's another hot take. I think content velocity is nonsense. I don't like it. All that time you spend watching what your competitors are doing, you will be no better than second place. And second place is first loser. Nobody really cares about second place. We've talked a lot today about generative AI, ChatGPT, etc., etc. This is just me saying that another way is exactly this, hitting and hoping. ChatGPT and all this other stuff will give you this hit and hope content. The internet has moved on. Just early today at lunchtime, I was reading about BuzzFeed, and I'm going to take 10 seconds to digress and talk about BuzzFeed. They are quite openly spinning out a ton of AI-generated content, which is getting little to no engagement. It's a very bland. You can tell that it's not like human-written content. Every time the next Google core algorithm update comes out, I'm genuinely going to look at BuzzFeed's stats first, because I think they will get done eventually. When it comes to digital PR, I mentioned this briefly. I don't know if you can see this, but it has its own challenges too. There's a tweet from the top where it says a journalist is not going to add links to the story, and there's a reply from the journalist which basically says, pay me. So, let's get into it. I'm going to talk to you about how you can go from basic to advanced in 3 steps. And just, again, as an aside, this time I want you to put your hands up. Who's got tomorrow off work? Okay, amazing. You're all finished, because you'll see why in a minute. I'll come back to that. This is where I think we are basic, right? I think a lot of the industry is here, where we have one topic, it performs the best, and you use that as a framework to create other content around the same topic. This is our topic, it's the best, we perform. I think that's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This is better. Universal analytics data shows us our longest path has got 9 touch points. Better. Advanced is here, which is where we're all going to need to be as of next week, because all of you have got tomorrow off. You've got to not enjoy the last day of having proper analytics. I'll call it proper analytics, because from next week it's International Marketers' Day of Mourning, when we all load up GA4 and cry. Okay? Advanced is where you split out your top 5 markets. You can understand which countries or regions, if you're only in the UK, prefer audio, video, both, or none. Right, this is basic. You open up GA4 next week and you cry because this is your reality. You look at this and you think, I hate it, thanks Google. Better is where you go back into Universal Analytics and you go into this handy feature called Top Conversion Paths. More people should know about this. If you don't, I'm going to give you a crash course in how this is going to change the way that you get budget for content. Advanced is when you do this. This here is a country, United States, split out conversions in a default channel grouping using cross-channel data-driven model. You can see here quite easily when it comes to early, medium, or late, where your channels are playing with each other. I knew at this point there'd be a couple of lost faces in the room, so I'm going to show you how, when you talk to the people who control the budgets, to avoid those lost faces. First, I'm going to show you how to get access to this data. So I'm going to show you very quickly how to navigate GA4. At the bottom, I've showed you how to do it. You might not be able to see it, but you've got to turn on video tracking, which is in admin, data streams, enhanced measurement, video engagement. The caffeine checks are definitely kicking in now, sorry. I will share the slides so you can access this afterwards. When you set this up and you set up videos, you can see stuff like this, right? So you go through engagement and events, and on the side you'll see video progress, start and complete. You can click into those and you can get way more detail out of them. In that menu, you can see who started your video, who's finished your video, and how much of the video that they've progressed through, which is incredible. I'll talk about that more in a minute. You can also set up, it's already done by default, but you can take it a little bit more granular and use scroll depth in GA4. Same place, and you can set it up 10, 25, 50, or 75. You can get super, super, super detailed and set it up in 1% increments, but don't do that, because I think if you looked at a page and saw that somebody had scrolled 65% of the page and somebody else scrolled 67% of the page, you're just in data hell. You haven't learned anything about that extra 2%. My opinion. If you disagree, fight me. No, don't fight me. When you put the two together, you can see stuff like this. You can layer scroll depth and video views together. You can see, and I've used Italy as an example here, how far users in Italy will scroll and how much of your videos they are watching. This, when you put that together, is literally solid gold. If there's no interest, and those people who had confused faces earlier on, go back into Universal Analytics and get your multi-channel funnel. So MCF in UA is multi-channel funnels in Universal Analytics. It will look like this. Start from the bottom up. Chima mentioned in her talk, going from the bottom up. Do that with your multi-channel funnels. Go and find your longest conversion path, right? And stick with me here. Then when you're asking whoever controls your budget, put this in front of them, and you'll see stuff like this. I mean, it's a little bit blurry here, but what you're seeing is things like direct for, referral, direct, paid search, social, etc. Lots of different nodes. When you're talking about creating content, right, and you're talking to, for example, the CEO of the business, if they are not on board, you say to them, the piece of content I want to create is for the 6th node in that path where we've got organic search. If we took that out, how confident are you that the rest of the journey would carry on? That there is a game changer, because this is a language, certainly this, that the boardroom does not speak, because they don't look at this and you do. And it's our job as marketers to sell and tell that story to them. You have to convince them why they should release that budget for you. You can take this to the next level if you're really into the data and the ins and outs by assigning a cost to each part of that path. For example, if you're in PPC and paid search appears at least 3 times in that path, I can almost guarantee that you won't have paid the same cost per click at 0.1 than you would have as 0.9 or 12. Add it all together, you get a blended cost. You can then present to the boardroom how much all of this costs, and it will literally change your life. Here's how you can use this information. I've used 4 countries as an example. I'll start with France. In France, let's say these users, they don't scroll, but they will watch a lot of your videos. Great. All you have to do is create longer videos and give it to them early in the page. If you know that these people are not going to scroll, don't make it any more difficult for them than it should be. Literally just give it to them as early as possible. Sounds simple, right? And not a lot of people are doing this. In Spain, let's say, for example, it's the opposite. Spanish users will scroll lots, but they won't watch your videos. All you've got to do is give them super detailed, authoritative, informative content. Crystal talked earlier about the need to demonstrate expertise. Do that here, right? Don't use ChatGPT. Use detailed, informative, literally demonstrate your expertise right here. Take it a step further by seeing where the drop-off occurs on the page and use remarketing and search ads from PPC to bring them back to the website. Bonus points if you create a dedicated PPC landing page to boost conversion rates. As an example, in the past, I've done this. So I had a client who was the Irish equivalent of the NHS. We were running a stop smoking campaign. We noticed that people were doing this. They were scrolling and leaving and not sort of signing up to stop smoking. We built a dedicated landing page. We used one of the key facts, which was something like 96 or 97% of people quit and stay quit smoking when they use our service. Conversion rate was through the roof. All that information was found out of GA. So that's Spain. In Italy, let's say, for example, they scroll on an average basis and they watch an average amount of your video, but they have a high average session duration, ASD, that I've called it. I call these people page hoppers. They're very likely in the research phase. Build an audience of those people. Again, use remarketing and search ads, and like I've just mentioned, target them with key facts and figures to ensure that your brand stays in the front of their mind. Right there, that audience, it tells me they're not ready to push the button or convert with you yet. And then the last one, let's say, for example, in Germany, they don't scroll, they don't watch your videos. You're finished, basically. You're not finished, but essentially, there's a clear disconnect between what you are giving the user and what they want. That doesn't mean that you can't do anything with them. I would say create short-form videos, use them earlier in the purchase or lead journey, like I said, there's a clear disconnect. We talked earlier on very briefly about the need for perspectives, user-generated content, and the idea of different viewpoints on things. You want to be there when these people are ready to find you and purchase or convert with you. I can see a couple of people taking pictures. I'll give you 2 more seconds. Too late. Right. I'm going to talk to you about the power of audio now. Audio gives text a voice, like it says there. Super low on production value and cost, therefore minimal barrier to entry. I'm going to use an example of my podcast for the rest of this talk to show you how simple this is. When I started it off, I used a very cheap microphone and I used free editing software. The only difference is the trade-off is where there was less budget, I had to spend more time on refining the audio to make it look better. Now I've been able to spend a little bit more, which has saved me time. So the trade-off is time versus money. For you and your businesses, whatever size they are, or your clients or your agency, etc., it's super cheap. For literally maybe £30 tops, you can get into this game. There's a massive, massive demand for things like audio suites and audiograms to drive traffic, even now that COVID has slightly loosened its grip on the world and people are now commuting back to the offices, some against their will. That's a conversation for a different day. But there's still a demand for this type of traffic. Here's an example. So I did a podcast, wonderful guest, Rejoice. It was audio only. I took her headshot with permission, put an audio wave on there, added subtitles, and I said, look, here's a podcast, click it. Here's my link, please listen to it. I didn't pay for anything. Just by using her headshot and a snippet of audio, I reached over 700 people, and it cost me nothing. Let's say, for example, you've got a client who's very, very small, and the budgets are tight. You can reach 700 people for absolutely nothing. I bet you if you went in front of that client and said, we can do this for free, they would literally bite your hands off and say, why didn't we do this yesterday? At this point, I can see 1 or 2 confused faces. You're probably thinking this: I hate my accent. Nobody wants to hear people who sound like me. I'm going to show you a study now, and I don't know who did it, so I can't give them credit. But you might not be able to see it well. This is a study of the most attractive accents in the British Isles mapped, right? So the darkest is the most attractive, the darkest red, and the lightest blue is the least attractive. So the darkest red is Southern Irish. Everybody loves an Irish accent, right? The darkest blue is Brummie, Birmingham. You've probably gathered from my accent that I was born in Wolverhampton, which is just outside of Birmingham. So according to this study, I have the less than least attractive accent. I am finished, right? But my point here is, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And we don't shout about our own successes enough. That's me on the front page of Think with Google. So if you literally don't believe that the lowest with the lowest trustworthy accent can get in front of Google, I'll give up. I'll just leave now, okay? Trust me, it's mad simple. Also, that shirt was fire, and I just wanted to share it. YOLO. Right, let me just talk about video very briefly then. So on Twitter alone, before the new guy breaks it, video views have grown over 200 times in the last year, and the new guy will break it. What you see on the screen there is a fact. Everybody knows this. Not enough people do this. If you've got a video on your landing page, it will convert better. I can't talk about video without mentioning TikTok. I don't think I've heard TikTok being mentioned today, which is strange. Whole marketing conference, nobody's mentioned TikTok. Well, now I have. Google, slightly worried that TikTok is taking into their search core product. In fact, we were talking about this at dinner last night. Every time something mad happens on TikTok, Crystal told me that Google pushes video SERPs higher up. And as an aside, if you're not following Crystal, you should do that like yesterday. There's been guides about everything you need to know about TikTok SEO because that's a thing. And as a side note, I did an episode with Lydia of my podcast where she literally dug into every single thing about TikTok and its ranking factors, the algorithm, its impact on SEO and search behavior. If you scan that, you can get access to it. She literally read everything, so I thought, yes, I've got to grill her on this. Again, video. Here's an example. You'll see in this tweet here that I've mentioned that I've brought my podcast back, but now I've started doing it with video. So this image that you see is a still of a video clip from a video episode. And again, I've got the guest on there. Well, of course, it's a video of her. I've put subtitles on there, and I've just put it out. Again, I haven't paid anything, but it's now been seen by over 1,700 people. It costs me nothing. If you have a client, again, in the small business space, you tell them you can reach over 1,500 people for free. They've already bit your hand off. They'll bite your foot off this time. This is the point where you're thinking, right, where do I start? How can I get into this game? I'll give you a few tips. This one here. Your business, your client, will have pages galore, blogs, for example, that are literally text only. Take one of them that you consider to be the best performing by any standard, right? Record like an audio teaser snippet of it. Find the best, most pertinent fact that's in there. Just record yourself saying it. Release that across multiple platforms. I'm not saying put it on TikTok or create it as a reel. You won't know what works best for your client or for your business until you test all of this stuff, okay? Put it out, whichever one works best, do more of that. You literally got content sat there, gold. If you're in e-com, how to, absolute winner, or demonstrate your products with audio and video and their benefits. I think the most difficult thing when it comes to e-com, and I've seen this before, in marketing, the lifespan, or tenure I should say, of an employee is not very long, a couple of years tops, okay? Businesses, in my experience, I've seen are reluctant to have people in front of the camera talking about their products or their service because they will leave in a couple of years' time, and then they're worried because Joe or Jane Blogs has gone, but they're still on the website. You can not get around this, but you can avoid a situation like this where you talk to your legal department or your client's legal department and get like an NDA signed or an image rights agreement signed where you say, we're happy to use your face or likeness for a number of years, even if you leave, and that's okay. You sign your rights away to us for that. In fact, if you've seen that Joan is Awful on Netflix, like literally do that, but don't ruin somebody's life. But I will also say this, if you're not changing up your content after 2 or 3 years, you're probably not doing your job as well as you could be doing. So, do that. And then ultimately, it comes down to this. Audio and video testimonials. We are people. We buy from people. The reason why I said earlier that I think people are being turned off from places like BuzzFeed or whatever else is because it's not genuine, and we want that genuine experience. If you go away and watch that Google video, I would love you to, and then tell me or ask me afterwards how I managed to make my head this shiny. It's not natural. I will take you up on that. But in that video, I mentioned this, right? Let's say, for example, you want a pair of trainers. Nobody wants to go on a website where it says, buy these trainers now, and then they go and buy them. People want to know about the feeling that the trainers will give them. Can I run 1,000 kilometers in them? Can I lift heavy things in them? They want to know about that side of things. They want to know about the features and the feeling. And in fact, because I know this is one of my last slides, I will give you this tip for free, okay? I'm just going to say this now, and I'm going to use Under Armour as an example. And I genuinely hope that nobody from Under Armour is in the room. If you are, I'm sorry in advance, don't change what I'm about to say. Don't do this for your clients or your business, do this for yourself, right? The next time you want to buy something and you're happy to wait for it, yeah? Go on the website and put it in the basket. Leave it in the basket for like, I don't know, a minute, and then leave. Don't come back, right? Just leave. After, let's say 24 hours, you'll get an email. Hi, Azeem. Under Armour do this. Hi, Azeem. You've left these trainers in your basket. Come back. They're ready to buy. Stay strong. Ignore the email. Open it, because they care about their open rates. Open it, read it, close it, move on with your life. Day 3, you'll get another email. Oh, Azeem, you've still left these trainers in your basket. Here's 20% off. Buy them. My friends, stay strong, okay? Read it. Open it. They care about their open rates. Somebody in CRM really cares about that, right? Read it. Don't buy it, okay? The gold comes on day 7. If you can hold on for 7 days, you've made it, yeah? More than Craig David. Day 7, Azeem, these trainers are in your basket. This is the last chance. We're not going to bother you anymore. Here's 40% off. My friends, click that link, yeah? Read the email, click that link. You've absolutely got a pair of banging trainers from Under Armour for 40% off. And let's be honest, that 40% can pay for like half a day's electricity because that shit is mad expensive. Right, I'm done waffling. I'll give you 4 points on summary. Point 1 says you must be on board with GA4 as well as UA. Like I said, for those who've got tomorrow off, all of us, we're absolutely finished, right? Next week, we're all going to be sad. Check in on your marketing or analytics friends, because we're going to be mad sad, right? We have to be on board with GA4 now. It's too late. You can understand which of your markets want audio, video, none, or both. Like I said, the barrier to entry is very low, very cheap. Segment your search strategy in this way for greater impact. A lot of the things that I've said sound super simple, but I bet you not a lot of people are doing it. Go away and tell them that you've seen this talk from this guy who looks like a giant Malteser with small muscles, and he's told you some really good stuff. If you enjoyed that, please follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I would enjoy it. I will be around for a little bit later on. But other than that, I can see a couple of people following. Yes, socials. Other than that, I think the caffeine's wearing off. My heart rate is a crisp 115, and I'm about 6 pounds lighter. I love you all. Thank you very much. Let's go and enjoy the after party.